What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Antro Mike back with an Antro Short for Entrepreneur. And in this video, we're going to be going over how Motivation and Box Trucking got into the industry, how well they've been doing with Amazon Relay, and hopefully they can give you some tips on how you can succeed in the future. What's going on, Cruz? How you doing today?
What's going on, Mike? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So you've made some claims in the past on Instagram and stuff like that. What is it? The Amazon Relay King, right? Yes,
Most
sir.
definitely, without a doubt, undisputed.
So we'll dive a little deeper into how your business and operations are ran with Amazon Relay. You're one of the most consistent content creators as far as sticking to just doing Amazon Relay. So I really wanted to get a video with you just to chop it up and see how you can help new ventures getting into the industry. Of course, they got that 6-month hold as far as having an active authority, but you got the tips and tricks to actually succeed and survive in this industry for Amazon Relay. So I guess starting off, what got you into trucking, and specifically, when did you start pivoting into box trucking?
Okay, well, what got me into trucking initially was me trying to find a more supplemental way to help out my family back in about 2015. I was previously working retail jobs, wasn't really moving up like I wanted to, so I got my CDLs, went to go get my CDLs. While I was getting my CDLs, I realized I didn't want to be over the road. So speaking with a lot of truckers, they told me about the Class B, how you can still make good money. Fast forward, got my Class B. I was working for a couple soda companies, a couple delivery companies. In the midst of working for those companies, 2019 hit. Around the end of 2019, as you already know, COVID came about. During that time, they was cutting a lot of hours. Man, I was already in trucking for about 4 years. Already
Yeah.
had an idea of how financially beneficial it could be. And at that time, I had to make a decision, keep trying to make money while COVID was going on, or move on and do my own thing. And that's what I ended up doing.
All right. So when getting into the box truck industry, did you start off renting, financing? Did you own it outright? How did you go about acquiring your first truck?
Coming into the industry, I figured it was more advantageous for me to rent. All the simple fact also, I didn't say previously when I got started box trucking was few guys I was working for will school me on some of the things that they did to get started. And one of the things they said was cut your costs coming in the door by renting and establishing yourself first before you make a dedication to such a large purchase. So I
Fair
decided to
point.
come in renting.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I just spoke to a truck dealership out of Atlanta. Shout out to Mick Truck and Gabriel up there with his family. But I kind of feel the same way, man. Why go buy a 30, 40K truck cash or getting this 50K loan if you don't know anything about the business?
Exactly.
Learn to know if you want to do this industry after 36 months. And then if you actually been making capital, or if you just been holding on to that working capital or money for the down payment, just start at 6 months. Why rush and spend the money now if you're just going to end up quitting in a year? All right. So when you got into box trucking specifically as an owner operator, where did you start? Did you start directly with Amazon Relay, or were you just like, what was your day-to-day like before Amazon Relay?
Now, before I got started with Amazon Relay, when I first started the box truck, and I knew nothing about Amazon Relay. So the first thing I was doing was what everybody else would do, which was go over the road. So my first thing was to get on the DAT board. That's the most common thing everybody uses. So I got on the DAT board. My first load was out to Atlanta, and then my second load was all the way out to Colorado. So when I first started, I knew nothing about Amazon. So my last ride out to Colorado was during a snowstorm. I spun out, almost flipped the truck, and that's when we decided to say, hey, we need to find something local. I don't know how I fell on Amazon. I think my
Yeah.
wife found it. I believe my wife found it. I'm pretty sure my wife found it. But once we found out about Amazon, it was over. It was no more over the road.
And how much were you realistically making at that current time when you were brand new? What could somebody at that 6-month mark, when you're super fresh, if they don't really know that they ain't got their performance score up, they ain't got the hang of it, what's that first few months?
The first few months, I'm going to say, wasn't necessarily tough for us, but you're not really able to get everything that you want because you have a new DOT. You're not tenured yet. So the first month, I didn't have a real expectation on where I wanted to go and what type of loads I wanted to get. So whatever load I got, I was pretty much happy. And then second, everybody's overhead isn't the same. So I was initially just going off of the information that I was getting online, which was generic information saying pretty much get $2 a mile. So it really didn't matter if it was 700 miles. If they was getting close to $2 a mile, I assumed that I was making money, which was not the case. Later on, I learned that was not the case. So initially starting out, I really wasn't profiting. I was just getting work enough to say that I could pay for the rental.
Now, was that with that 2,000 mile? That's what you did hitting back too, right? So you,
No. For instance, I get a load to Atlanta, which actually I think that Atlanta load paid pretty decent, around $3 and some change a mile. But
okay,
I wasn't familiar with the DAT board and logistically planning myself in that manner because I'm just starting. So I'll get a load down to Atlanta, and by the time I'm down in Atlanta, I'm then jumping on the DAT board, trying to look for a
okay.
load to get back home. But I wasn't really in the right time frames and looking at the right times in order to get a load to really make that be an effective move. So.
That was the starting process. We didn't really go over gross figures, but what would you say your gross revenue is weekly with Amazon Relay now? And is this being home night, every other night, every weekend? What's your day to day?
All right, now I'm gonna just get a brief history of when I got into Amazon and the comparison of when I first started to what I'm doing. Now, when I
Okay.
first got into Amazon, I wasn't familiar with the load board, so a lot of stuff that you have to get acclimated with when it comes to Amazon Relay is their timing and when they put out actual loads. So I was pretty much freestyle. I remember I was pretty much freestyling, so it was pretty much picking anything. So we ended up picking things such as Baltimore loads that was going pretty far, and then the
Yeah.
actual pay for those loads were pretty low. So when I started out with one truck, I probably make about $2,200 a week, $2,500 a week. But I was paying around $600 a week for the rental, about $700 a week for an enterprise rental, and paying around about $700 in diesel for
Okay.
the truck. And then eventually, as I transitioned into more and more, I learned Amazon because, like I said, when we started, we did over the road, which required us to be away from home. And we have 3 kids, and we will both be on the road at those times. When we found Amazon allowed me to be home every night. So even if I did do those longer loads going to Baltimore up in Maryland or going down to North Carolina, I was still able to be home. Now, the money wasn't as great because I really didn't know what I was doing at that time.
Yeah.
But being able to come home every night was the plus in that one, the bonus, the deposit, the what would you say, the
Pro,
Amazon.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you dove deeper into what you're doing now, but at this current point, you've already kind of over what you can make now.
Now, as I transitioned in today, started back in 2020 when I started Amazon Relay. Today is 2025. I went from
Yeah.
making $2,200 a week with one truck to now making five, sometimes eight, sometimes $9,000 with a truck. I did one week. If you
Sheesh.
on the Patreon, you can see how I was able to finagle that and do that. But yeah,
Yeah, put that
now,
Patreon link down there. That's something y'all can go check out. Not super expensive too, super inexpensive. I'm guessing for the value that's actually in it.
yeah.
So if you guys want to invest into that information, man, you got somebody who's doing it every day. They're showing their profits. You can track their lows. Like if you're at that 6 month mark and you want to do it, or if you're not even there yet, but just curious on what you can make around his region, I say kind of up to you and what you want to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So now I'm averaging on the low end. If I'm just on the low end, $3,500 a week with the one truck. And to be honest with you, around this time, we know a lot of information that we and my wife can put out online. I'm seeing a lot of drivers averaging somewhere around $2,800 to $3,200 a week with
yeah.
Amazon. So that's not like for me to do that. But when I'm really working hard and really going hard, yeah, low end 5,000. Like I said, one week I made 9,000 with one truck. So
Solid, man. Solid. With that lifestyle, are you able to be, well, I guess like, yeah, that's a better question. Are you running during the day? Are you running at night? Because we know Amazon Relay also has like runs. Are these the dedicated contracts? I know they came out with that last year to where you can set your truck basically on a contract to where you don't really necessarily know where you're going, but you got a dedicated rate on the amount of work that they give you at that point, I guess.
yeah, and actually to your point, there's actually two ways they're doing the contract. So yes, they do
Okay.
have that contract with Amazon, whereas you book the contract, you don't know where you're going. It's 13-hour
Yeah.
block or the 8-hour block, but they also have the options now, whereas the auction where you can bid on just one lane. So for instance,
Nice.
down here from RIC 5 to WCH7, which is like DSP.
What's
Um,
Rig 5?
you
What's the terminology for that for somebody new?
Okay, five would be the first three initials of the city that the facility is in, the source center, which is
So
Richmond, Rick, and then five normally to a source center. So it's
perfect.
normally if you have a five behind it, like this is in CLT five,
Okay.
Charlotte five, that's a source center, and same thing like
Okay. So
MT
what's then? I know I got into Atlanta Zone 6 or something like that.
ATL six is also a source center. Atlanta actually has a multi source centers around there.
Okay.
6, 8, 5. A lot of times, like it's like a facility with the 5 at the end and a 9 at the end, or a 5 and a 6 at the end, and they're kind
Okay.
of whatnot, far as with the freight that's coming through. But primarily, the 5 ends with a 5 is going to be a sourcer
Perfect. So
majority
you
of the
say you
time.
got two type of contracts. One's where it's kind of you don't know where you're going, and then one's where you can bid on a lane.
Yeah,
That's super attractive. Something that's we're on this video. That's nice.
yeah.
And what no performance score got to be high as hell in order to get into it. But what does tenure have to be like to actually be able to bid on your own contract?
All right, now, as far as with the tenure and your performance score, you have a score as low as a B plus for the box, and then a C plus for the
Wow.
rigs. Now, for the box trucks, you can have as low as a B plus to bid on the contracts and the auctions. And then, second, your tenure, long as you are accepted into the Amazon Relay program, you are able to bid on the auctions as well as book the contracts. The caveat of that is this, though. Say if, for instance, on the auctions, that lane where you will actually bid on the one lane on the actual contract where you will bid on it, you will bid a number. The person who's been with Amazon longer, if their
Ah,
bid matches your bid, then
they're
they
gonna
will
get
get
it.
it first. So
Same for probably
it's
performance score because they can kind of see
exactly,
history. Yeah. So if you've been in business
exactly,
longer, you've been on time every time, you're more likely gonna win that rate. So, man, I
exactly.
like man because I mean Amazon. No matter how much even when I was over the road. I mean, I shot most of my time over the road, but even when trucking, I was just really against Amazon Relay. Even though I knew you could be local or regional, I felt like we
Mhm.
were kind of capped as far as maximizing your potential. And there's
Mhm.
these if you're able to bid on them, you got some tenure in the game. They sound super sexy. Then
Yeah.
Amazon ain't nowhere. No matter how much we say
No.
anything, Amazon is not going anywhere. Most of the road are already occupied by owner operators, so it's not like large fleets are just going to take over Amazon Relay. So I really the idea is this of the relay now. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was up for for future with trucking in these
Yeah.
past few months doing that 5K, trying to simply being able to have that contract. Now, the caveat once again of that is the auctions are going to be 7 days a week. So if you're not available 7 days a week, don't do them.
Yeah.
But if you work 7 days a week, yeah, Amazon has it,
You hustling, man.
and it's
It's just
profitable.
hustling, man. So 5K challenge. Let's say you did it for what was the outcome of that? I didn't get to watch the full video. I don't spoil it. What we're looking like at the end of the 5 week challenge. I mean 5K.
Well, currently are in week 12, which is the
Week
last week. It
12.
was
Goodness.
five,
It's been a
yeah,
while.
5K, 12 weeks. The last video uploaded was week 8.
More than
I still
70.
need it. So yeah, oh yeah. Currently, right, we did about 80,
Okay.
80,
Solid.
close to 80,000. Yeah, 80,000. So
So done to
it was pretty
6K.
good.
That's solid,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Well,
So right
that's
now,
more
a little
6K
over,
because yeah, because
right
be
five.
six. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
okay,
about
and
65.
that like that's still that is pretty exclusive that you're kind of giving out how you're able to make this money, and as long as somebody's at that 6 month mark and they get accepted into Amazon Relay, they should be going to get the same results, but they should be able to do pretty well.
Yeah, and it is also when you do go to the Patreon, I do want you to understand that yes, Amazon is my primary income, but I also run other things. So with
Okay,
Amazon, for instance, Amazon this year, as of the 16th, is today the 16th of May.
yeah,
I'm currently Amazon. We're at $90,000 with Amazon. This is with one truck, but I also use an app called Curry, and I'm
okay.
already at about $40,000 with that
Whew.
app. So yeah, so I know them simultaneously together. So when you come over to the Patreon, there's a platform. The Patreon has a multitude of things, which it has training videos, things that you're not going to get from Amazon, that Amazon does not teach you, tell you, nor you can find online, as well as I give you strategic moves. As you said, though, your results is not going to be the same as mine. I've been doing this for almost 5 years. I didn't gain a lot of knowledge over that time, and I done built a lot of relationships over that time. So a lot of this stuff is still going to take time. The individual is going to have to take that time to learn it, but
Okay.
those possibilities are there. You can definitely do it, and you can definitely get your things started with Amazon Relay. Definitely.
Man, you got to give us one. You got to give us one of them goddamn cheat codes. What's the cheat codes in the Patreon we can give for the video? If you can't let it loose,
I
we'll just
I used to that Patreon
you
because
gotta
it's
get
so
to it.
volatile. Because you want to know the thing is, Mike, man, the thing is, when we started out talking about Amazon
Yeah.
Relay was so easy and sweet.
Yeah.
What became popular online talking about it as being, the whereas Amazon actually start to pay attention and start referring people to our videos. I mean, literally
Uh,
means the people there will mention our videos. So some of
yeah.
the things that we would do, those loopholes, they closed them. So
Yeah. So you be careful.
yeah, I
So
got
it's
caught if I
like
put
the
it behind a
information,
paywall.
yeah, you almost gatekeep it the secret. Okay.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly,
that's fair. And I like what you're doing regardless with the Amazon Relay. You're just showing somebody a different way to kind of make in business.
yeah,
Like, cause that's the biggest thing. When you come to this channel, it's trucking education, it's how to start the business. I try to give as much free, valuable information as I can, but I can't give you all of the tools to stay in business, right? That need to come from
exactly,
getting consulting, getting in his Patreon. You got guys with Discourse, mentorship programs, whatever the case may be, where if you're getting a solid piece of value out of it, you know, education or you're gonna pay for your mistakes, right?
exactly,
So
exactly.
I enjoy your time, and I know your time is valuable. Is there anything you want to leave off
Likewise,
to
brother.
somebody, brand they just make it right now and they getting to that 6 month mark? You think Amazon Relay, depending on their market, could be a way out?
I would like to say to that individual that's going through that situation, stay strong, keep trucking, and stay motivated. You will make
Okay,
it. There's one line I can tell you that's going to necessarily position you to where you want to be. It's going to all be up to you. So
for
keep
sure.
trucking, stay motivated. Yes,
All
sir.
right, man. Well, that's it, man. It's your boy Entre Mike. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go check Motivation and Box Trucking, man. Like I said,
Yes,
he is
sir.
self-proclaimed Amazon Relay King.
King,
So
baby.
hey, check him out, man. I appreciate it. Peace.
Yes, sir.